What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel. We continue with our 2025 college football predictions for the upcoming 2025 college football season. Up next is the Missouri Tigers. Missouri is a team and a program coming off back-to-back 10-win seasons last year in 2024 and then also the year before in 2023. So they've been really good as a team in the last couple years, and they've been in the top 25 and then also in the top 15 those last couple of years. And they're coming off a pretty good season last year, 10-3 year in 2024. Can this team make a big jump in 2025? Well, before we get into predictions for this team for 2025, first, just some thoughts on this Missouri team for this season in 2025 as well. You look at this offense, I definitely have a lot of question marks about this Tiger offense. I mean, offensively, I don't really like the offense at all. First off, Brady Cook on at quarterback obviously is a huge loss, but they have a transfer quarterback coming in that I think could develop right away, but I just don't know if he's going to be really able to live up to what Brady Cook did in the last couple of seasons. And you look at the receiver position, that's definitely the biggest concern that I have for this Missouri team. They lost a couple of really good receivers last year, including Luther Burden. He was obviously a big target for Missouri last year, and he has gone to the NFL. So the offense overall is a concern here for Missouri for 2025. You look at this defense, though. That might be the strength here of this Missouri team. That defense looks quite decent. I don't think it's one of the best defenses in the country, but they do have a lot of veteran players coming back on that side of the football. So I think Missouri has a chance to be a pretty good defense, but definitely just a pretty average type offense. I don't think it's going to be horrible, but it's just an average type offense. Let's just put it that way. So let's now get to the schedule for 2025. And here is that schedule for Missouri for 2025. Again, the Tigers, they were 10-3 last year in 2024. So let's go game by game, and I'll give you my official prediction for this Missouri team for 2025. And they start things off with Central Arkansas at home here on August the 30th. This should be a pretty easy win here for the Tigers, no question about it. They should probably win this one by at least 30 or 40 something points, somewhere in that particular range. And I think Missouri starts off the season with a win against Central Arkansas here, and they start off 1-0 on the season. And then after that, they play a big non-conference game against Big 12s in Kansas. The Jayhawks coming off a disappointing year last year. They will play this game on September 6th, and of course, this is a former Big 12, I think, rivalry matchup here between these two teams. I think this is a pretty exciting non-conference game. You look at the difference here between both of these teams. I think the Jayhawks might be a little bit better this year. I mean, their offense should be overall pretty decent. I mean, I think it's going to be a team that's going to be able to run the football, and I think Missouri probably will do the same, but I give the defensive advantage to the Tigers in this one, and that probably will be the difference in this game. I think Missouri overall is just a more better team than Kansas, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Jayhawks did win this game. This is a team that I think is going to turn things around. I don't know if they'll be a top 25 team or a Big 12 dark horse contender, but this is a Kansas team that I think will come out really competitive, but I think Missouri does pull away, maybe by the fourth quarter, and I think they win this one by 7 or 10 points, somewhere in that point range, and I think Missouri does beat Kansas here, so I got them starting off 2-0, and then they play Louisiana. They take care of business in that game on September 13th, so that puts the Tigers now at 3-0, and then they open up SEC play against South Carolina on September 20th. And I did South Carolina's video yesterday, and I did pick the Gamecocks to win this game. I think South Carolina is going to be a top 25 team this year. Lenore Sellers has a chance to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And I also think this Missouri defense will have a very tough time stopping him at running the football. And I just don't think the offense for Missouri is capable of getting past this South Carolina defense. Maybe it's a competitive game, though. Maybe it does go low scoring, but it really does come down to the running games, in my opinion. And I think South Carolina just a little bit better of a team at running the football, in my opinion. So I got to go with South Carolina here to win this game. And again, I'm trying to get, not choose the home team every time when it's a really tough game to call. I just go who I think is the better roster, and I also got to kind of go whoever probably is the better team here. So I am picking South Carolina. I think they're the better roster, and I also think they're the kind of better team as well. And I do trust Lenore Sellers at quarterback. So that's Missouri's first loss of the season, but then they take care of business against UMass on September 27th, so that puts the Tigers at 4-1. They get their first bye week of the season before playing a big game against Alabama on October the 11th. I mean, that's a pretty good spot for a bye week before playing like a potential top 10, top 15 Alabama team. It's kind of hard to say top 15 because I feel like Alabama definitely will be in the top 10. This Alabama team, I think, is going to be a little bit better this year. I know last year Missouri got shut out in this game, and last year's game definitely was not even close, but that game was at Bryant-Denny Stadium, so maybe Missouri kind of makes this a closer game this time, but I just think it's going to be close in the first half. Maybe Alabama probably pulls away in the second half, and they probably win this one by 10 to 14 points, so by about a couple of touchdowns, maybe even 10 points, somewhere in that point range. And again, I think the bye week does help them out, to kind of get prepared for what they did wrong last year against Alabama on the road. But I just think Alabama definitely is the better team, so I think Alabama does go on the road and beats Missouri here. And also the weapons at wide receiver for Alabama, that's definitely going to be a dangerous thing for the defense of Missouri to keep up with. So that's Missouri's second loss of the season. That puts them at 4-2, and they've lost back-to-back home games against SEC teams. Next game will be on the road at Auburn on October 18th, so we got the Battle of the Tigers here. This is a very tough place to play. Auburn's going to be a little bit better this year, in my opinion. They should be a solid team, nonetheless. Their offense is going to be really tough to stop because we know Hugh Freeze's offensive background. I don't know if their defense can probably, make Missouri, really kind of, scoreless in this game. I think it probably could be a shootout here between these two teams. Again, defensively, Missouri does have a good defense, but I just think Auburn's kind of, maybe going to be a little bit better this year. And also, playing on the road, I think Auburn does win this game. I don't really want to call it an upset alert type game because Missouri, after those losses to South Carolina and Alabama, they could probably be out of that top 25. So I wouldn't really call this an upset alert type game. So I'm going with the Tigers of Auburn here in this Tiger matchup here on October the 18th. So that's Missouri's third loss of the season. And that's also back-to-back losses there here in the month of October. Then they play Vanderbilt on the road on October 24th. This is a Vanderbilt team that really came close to beating Missouri last year at Missouri in Columbia. This year it's on the road in Nashville. So I think Vanderbilt actually will come in a little bit fired up. And I think Vanderbilt's actually going to be a pretty similar type team to Auburn. They're going to be pretty solid on the offensive side of the football. Defensively, they could have some question marks there, but I just look at this Vanderbilt team. I think with Diego Pavia at quarterback, that's definitely going to give Missouri's defense a lot of trouble. It's kind of like similar to the South Carolina game where they got a running quarterback and they're just going to run the football in this game and then also waste the clock down, and I think that's probably going to be the difference here. I'm actually going to go with Vanderbilt here to pull off not an upset, but get revenge here on the Tigers from last year's game that went into overtime. So I got Vanderbilt getting the win, and that puts Missouri at 4-4, and that's 3 losses in a row. And that's every single game that they lose in the month of October. They get their second bye week before playing Texas A&M at home on November 8th. Texas A&M, I think, is going to be a decent team. I don't know if they become a contender in the SEC, but they have a lot of production coming back. Marcel Reed is back at quarterback, and this is another team that Missouri is going to have to go up against another running quarterback, and I just think that's going to give Missouri's defense a lot of trouble this year. The quarterbacks that they'll be facing that can run the football, you got Lenore Sellers at South Carolina, and then you got Vanderbilt at, actually Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt. That's probably going to be really dangerous here for this Missouri defense, and this is the third quarterback that they're going up against that can run the football. And that probably could be the difference. Now, Missouri, they get a bye week before playing this game, which obviously does help them out. Last year's game was not even close between these two teams. But Texas A&M, I think, is just a slightly better team. And I do trust Marcel Reed at quarterback definitely a lot more. So I'm going with the Aggies here to win this game. And that drops Missouri to 4-5 on the season. So 4 losses in a row, and then they play Mississippi State after that on November 15th. I think this is where Missouri finally gets an SEC win, and that's going to be against the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. I don't think Mississippi State is going to be all that great this year, so I'm going to go with the Tigers here to get their first SEC win after starting like 0-5 in SEC conference play, and that puts them at even 500 at 5-5. Then they got to win one of these 2 road games to get to a bowl game at least. They play Oklahoma next after that on November 22nd. Last year's game between these 2 teams was really a close one. I think it's going to be another close game. You know, this is a tough one to call. I think it's a 50-50 game in my opinion. I think both defenses, you know, Oklahoma is a slightly better defense, and I think it really does come down to whoever has the better defense. And I do trust Brent Venables' defensive background a little bit more, so I'm going to go with the Sooners here to win this one. I don't think offensively, I don't think both of these teams are going to be really explosive in this game, and I got Oklahoma getting the win, so that puts Missouri at 5-6. And then they play Arkansas to close things out. This will be a road game for Missouri on November 29th. You know, Missouri has dominated the series as of late. You know, they've kind of won big in the last couple of years, but last year's game was really like close between these 2 teams. I think it's kind of similar. I think it's going to be another close game. You know, Arkansas definitely is going to have a pretty explosive offense, but defensively, can they be able to make some stops in this one? It is a rivalry game. It's kind of a tough one here to call. And again, I probably do trust Arkansas's offense a little bit more than Missouri's. And I also think defensively, I think it's probably going to be tough to stop this Arkansas passing game, and then also them running the football. So I think the Razorbacks do win this game, and they finally, they finally get rid of that losing streak as well. Missouri again has dominated the series as of as of late, but I got to go with Arkansas here to win this game, and that puts Missouri at 5-7 on the season in 2025. So that's my prediction here for the Tigers. Again, I don't think Missouri is going to drop off that much. I mean, they could probably at least make it to a bowl game still, and then probably go 6-6 or 7-5. But I just don't think Missouri is going to get to 10 wins again this year, and then also mainly to 9 wins. I know this is a schedule that's not too bad, but they got some very tough road games. They got Auburn, you know, that's a very tough place to play. They got Oklahoma on the road. That's also another tough place to play. But mainly their big games are at home. South Carolina, Alabama, Texas A&M. Those are all 3 big games, and I think that will probably decide Missouri's season in 2025. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they did slip up against Kansas as well in that week number 2 game. But I got this team going 5-7. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if Missouri still made it to a bowl game, but based off of the offense and everything, I just got to go with 5-7 in 2025. So a little bit of a very big step back for the Tigers, in my opinion, for this upcoming season. Do you guys agree or disagree with this prediction? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and give me your prediction for this Missouri team as well. Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports YouTube channel.